Welcome back. In the previous class, we have seen the elementary aspects of language game, how it is important in the later philosophy of Wittgenstein, as elementary propositions were important in the early philosophy of Wittgenstein. Today, we'll be looking into the aspects of game in language game, or we'll be looking into what makes language game a game, how far it is significant as well as relevant to call the use of language a language game. So first we'll be looking into the interrelationship between language and game. What are the similarities between language and game? Initially to look into what's a game. Okay, the name language game derives from Wittgenstein's notion that language is an activity like game. The way you play a game, there are many similarities between the way you play a game and the ways in which we use language. And it shares many features of a game as rule following. Now, if you take a game, to ask what is a game, to answer it is very difficult. Football is a game. Cricket is a game. What's common for football and cricket? It's only bat. Sorry, it's only ball that is common, but that's not the similar ball. The ball of football is different from the ball of cricket. And cricket is a game. And shuttle is a game. What's common for that? It's a bat, but bat of different kind. So to answer what makes a game, or why we call a game, or to say the essence of a game, to bring it out is very difficult. It will be more difficult if you say chess is a game. What is the similarity between chess and football? There's no much similarity. So we can say that there is a similarity in chess, football, cricket, shuttle and all such games, that they follow some rules. But are all rule following activities game? It's very difficult to say. To obey traffic, driving in a traffic is a rule following activity. It's a rule governed activity. You cannot drive in traffic as you like. But does the following of traffic rules make the driving a game? No, it's no more game. So, rule following is essential to any game. But that doesn't mean that all rule following activities are game. But at the same time, the rule following is, as an essential element, is acceptable in case of language use as well as in case of games. Now, what we generally call a game comprises of various games that shares no feature in common. That's what I told. When you talk about a game or different games, there is no feature that is common for all games. If you take flower, to call flower different flowers, there are some elements which are common, like petals. Every flower has got a petal, and shape to some extent. It's a round shape. But no such similar feature is shared among the games that we know. So what we call generally, what we name the game, they are activities, even though they are rule governed, there is no specific rule or specific feature that is common for all games. Now, the relationship between games, Wittgenstein illustrates with the notion of family resemblance. Then, however, even though there is no common feature for all games, we call all of them games. What enables us to call all of them games is what Wittgenstein called family resemblance. Even though there is no unique feature which is available for all games, there is a family resemblance between games. Now we'll be looking into the notion of family resemblance. So the explanation for family resemblance goes like this. Even though there is no feature uniquely common for the members of a family, the individuals in the family share one or the other features with other members, like the style of hair, color of eyes, etc. See, within a family, and think of a joint family, you can find out the relationship to a certain extent. But there is no common feature like the style of nose which run throughout the family. But the father and daughter may be similar in the shape of their face. The daughter and mother may be similar in their hairs. And the daughter may be similar in her color with the son. And like that, even though one single feature is not shared by all members of that family, there are some shared features among the family members. Like the colors of hairstyle is shared by some members of the family, the color of eyes is shared by some members of the family, then the height or the physical structure is shared by some members of the family. Like that, there is a sharing. The same thing can be seen in games also. The football and the basketball shares the ball. The basketball and the volleyball shares the court, almost similar. And the basketball and shuttle shares again the court, and the shuttle and badminton shares the bat. Like that. Even though there is no single feature which is uniquely common to all games, whatever we call games, there is a family resemblance. Some features are shared among members, and they are interwoven and spread throughout the family, and that's known as the notion of family resemblance. The members of the family are interconnected with such similarities. There is no unique similarity, but they are interconnected with such similarities. And similarly, the relation between different games, Wittgenstein explains, is that of family resemblance. There is no unique feature for all games, but the relations are that of family resemblance. This is the notion of family resemblance as far as Wittgenstein is concerned. Now, in language, there are different language games having rules specific to each. There are different language games, means the way in which the meaning comes out from in a specific context. There are some rules that are followed for that. Hence, language again is a rule-governed activity. And as the meaning of a move is determined within the context of the game, the meaning of a sentence or word is determined within the context of language game. The meaning of a move, say kicking a ball, whether it's a correct activity, whether it's a right activity or wrong activity, or what does it mean, depends on, there is no specific meaning for the kicking of a ball. If a ball is kicked in a football court and in a volleyball court, it makes different sense. There are different moves. And even in the football court, from different places, the kicking makes different sense. The goalkeeper cannot, and touching the ball by hand, by whom, from where, all these matters to decide the meaning of that act of touching the or hitting the ball using hand in football. So in the same way, there is no specific meaning for an act or for a word in language. Who uses, from where uses, which is the context of use, that determines the meaning of a word. Like there is no specific meaning for a move in a game. For different games, one and the same move can have different meaning in different games, and from within a single game itself it can have different meaning in different contexts. In the same way, in language also, the meaning of a word is determined by the context of its use. And similarly, the meaning of a word or sentence varies in accordance with the game in which it's employed. Then roles and meanings are interwoven in language games. This is another important feature. They are not rigid. The rules determines the meaning as well as the rules are according to the meaning. They are interwoven. One cannot exist without the other. The rule cannot exist without the move or meaning, and the meaning cannot exist without the rule. And there is one more similarity which is between the language and games. See, you can rightly play a game, still you can lose the game. It's not that you don't play any foul that you are going to win. You can correctly, with following all rules, you can play a game and still the game can be lost. And in the same way, you can use language in a specific context, in a specific sense, still it may fail to communicate. That will be visiting later on in that aspect, how the failure to communicate can take place. But however, it's not guaranteed that playing well amounts to winning the game. The same way, it's not guaranteed that following rules in language amounts effective communication. So there are so many similarities between language and game. So the meaning of rule as well as the meaning are interconnected in the context of language game. And these are the similarities between language and game, and why Wittgenstein called the elementary aspect of meaning as language game. And it's from within the context of language use, or what we call language game. It's within that game that a word or sentence derives its meaning. This is the most important part. And when you take the word or meaning out of the language game, when you take the word or sentence out of the context of language game, then there is no sense in asking what does it mean. So the meaning can be only in language game. And that's all for today. In the next class, we'll be concluding the language game, and we'll be seeing some more aspects of the language game. Till then, bye. Thank you.